action on global challenges. Ukraine's President Zelensky called for real military aid against Russia, highlighting drones and AI in warfare. Syria's Bashar al-Assad demanded sanctions be fully lifted, while Iran's Pezeshkian denied nuclear ambitions and pledged support against Israeli aggression. The Dominican Republic and Kenya stressed backing for the UN mission in Haiti. On day 3 of the 80th UN General Assembly, world leaders continue debating urgent issues like the wars in Gaza and Ukraine, climate change, and UN Security Council reform. Discussions to continue surrounding Somalia, calling for international support against extremist groups. Ghana will be emphasizing its role in promoting peace and development. The Philippines will focus on sustainable development and the 2030 agenda. Now we are joined by correspondent Thomas Porteous. He's joining us live from New York. Thank you very much, Thomas, for joining us. Now, what more can you tell us from the venue in New York?
Oh, yes, Asima, you are certainly joining me from a rainy day in New York, but that has not stopped the floods of diplomats from peeling in from behind me. And as you've said, yes, it is the third day of that general debate, which is set to commence here in New York City at the General Assembly here at the United Nations. Now, on the matter in the general debate, everyone is looking at one session in particular, and of course, that is Palestine, the state of, recognized by over 150 countries of the UN, but notoriously not many of those most crucial G7 countries. Its leader, President Mahmoud Abbas, who's a leader of the Palestinian Liberation Movement, he is not present. The Trump administration and the US government did not give him his visas to get here. This is proved highly controversial. It's actually against the statute of the United Nations, where bilateral issues should not be withstanding when it comes to inviting people in order to discuss their issues to the United Nations. This is supposed to be a place where each state has their own voice, and that's why people praise the United Nations. And it gives those small countries a voice all to speak, which is what we are seeing today. However, Mahmoud Abbas today, he will speak by video link to the Assembly. We are expected to see protests like we even saw yesterday on the day Iranian President Pezeshkian was speaking here. However, it is supposed to be a huge day for the state of Palestine, of course, with just 2 days ago G7 nations, along with many other traditional Israeli allies, recognizing the state of Palestine. And of course, that is not it. We have the European Union speaking today. Antonio Costa will be saying words, pushing the European agenda forward for the 27-country bloc, a bloc which was widely criticized by US President Donald Trump in that speech that opened the general debate after President Lula da Silva. Of course, we have then a flood of African countries amongst that, and that, of course, which is very important, which is Sudan, which has a huge humanitarian crisis and civil war currently occurring, which is entering its third year. That will also be discussed in front of the General Assembly as well. So a huge day here at the United Nations in New York. And as you can see behind me, you see the floods of diplomats coming in, and we can't show you this, but standing in front of me is NATO Secretary Mark Rutte, who's standing there in front for an interview. Unfortunately, we couldn't get him. But we will, of course, bring you all the updates as soon as we get them.
And Thomas, what more is happening today? What's on the agenda for today?
Well, yes, as I've said, the biggest moment, of course, will be that of Mahmoud Abbas speaking remotely, which is the first time which that has ever happened when it comes to the United Nations General Assembly. This raises huge questions over reform, which has been actually a huge topic here this year. There should be a huge time for celebrations. This should mark 80 years of when this institution was set up after the Second World War. However, that is not the case. There is calls here for reform. There is mass criticism when it comes to this institution, and looking forward is the perspective. There are, of course, Donald Trump criticized the United Nations when it came to him stopping wars. Even the infrastructure of the building, of course, he criticized. We all saw his escalator stop when he got on it, and then later on his claims of this building behind me, even sabotaging his entire speech, which he claimed on Truth Social afterwards. So, of course, it is set to be a huge day, and we will, of course, bring you all the updates as we get them live here from New York.
And Thomas, what more is happening there? Do you see any protests happening as well?
Well, of course, there will be, as expected, pro-Palestinian protests. We're unsure if there is going to be counter-protests yet. Usually bunched with this is the Sudan protests as well. You often see the Sudanese flag flying alongside the Palestinian flag. So when Mahmoud Abbas speaks, there is most likely going to be a Palestinian protest coming through. However, what really is more likely to draw the crowds is tomorrow, when Benjamin Netanyahu is set to come here and speak, despite that ICC warrant, a body of this institution, against him. There are marches already planned for that. Of course, he is set to address many world leaders that have accused him and his government of perpetrating war crimes and perpetrating genocide, and so that is set to be the most that is expected to bring the most controversy, the most drama and the most debate, of course.
With that, thank you very much, Thomas Porteous, for joining us all the way from New York.